It's funny. I was not expecting to hit 1,000, but thank you. Now we are on the journey to capturing the community tab. I'm joking, but uh, I've been 1,000 for a couple, like, what, 3 4 days now, and I didn't release a thank you video because excuse me, because yeah, well, there's no. I feel like there's no point in it. So instead of doing that, we're gonna see when the community tab comes out. There's gonna be something out for that. I feel like that's how it should be. I was gonna say thank you for the 1,000 in the community tab, and then put down, like, ask for what kind of video you guys want me to do, but instead, no, I can't do that because the community. I just haven't gotten the shit for the community tab yet. But what I will do is this new what if, because yeah, I know people are getting tired of it, and yeah, I'm gonna redo some old ones. Like, I promise you, like, Sharingan will be redone. What's the name? What else will be redone? Things I feel like should be redone will be redone because I kind of don't feel like going back and restarting it and seeing it again. So I kind of want to restart it just so I won't have to, worry about it. Sorry, I'm just trying to fucking. Anyway, because, yeah, that's probably going to get. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, now that that's probably out the way. This is what if Deku was a pilot. And before people. And I know people are wondering, pilot of what? Like a plane pilot? No, more like a Titanfall pilot. And I wonder, now here's another question. How the hell are you going to do that? It's Titanfall. But I know a way of doing this because it make kind of sense. Yeah, it makes sense. So, uh, one sec, actually. Yeah, my bad. I had to respond to a text from fucking. I don't even know what the fuck it was. But, yeah. Basically, how this is going to start is Deku. Well, yeah. Deku basically is in the Frontier War, like in the ending parts of it, last part of it, and he's one of the few Titanfall Titans. I mean, Titan. Yeah, he's a mercenary Titan, basically, pilot. Basically, he works for. He would either go for the 6-4 or the Predators, but he would soon lose a battle against countless Titans, like in the fucking. He would lose a battle against a couple, like, pilots, and would soon, like, pass away. But instead of, like, passing away and reincarnating without any of the knowledge, basically he's. Sorry, I had to swallow something. Basically, he is. I basically say, yeah, reincarnates, but he has the knowledge of how to make the Titan shit and everything with him when he is born into My Hero. So that's how we'll start this. Alright, so now born, well, as we all know, Izuku Midoriya. He's known to be a very smart. Oh, yeah, by the way, yeah, he remembers. He doesn't remember how he died or what the other Titans are, but he knows what the Titans are, the schematics and all that. He just doesn't remember, like, death and what his like. He doesn't remember his past, but he knows all the knowledge of, like, the Titans and shit. So he remembers the workout and everything. So from as a kid, well, as a baby, he's shown to have, like, a target like eye. Like, you know how someone has, like, um like, you know what I'm trying to say, like a sniper scope like eye, and be like, from birth he was like, nah, I'm gonna stop playing because you truly don't know how you are until, like, you're, like, able to start remembering. So I'm gonna just time skip 4 fucking years because it makes no sense. So at the age of 4, when everything truly starts happening, he is, well, more like he starts, because you can't work out your little body so much. So he's doing a reasonable thing, work out and playing around. That seems like childlike. Like he is, but when he goes to a Quirk doctor, Quirk is over that's very smart and excellently, basically genius level intelligence and muscle memory and all that. Basically things that make sense for him. And hit like enhanced muscle memory and shit. Because when they did the testing and everything, he seemed to dodge and move around like he's been in situations like this before, or even more dangerous. So they think he's able to he has just has enhanced reflexes, but it's totally different because yeah, you can train your reflexes like that, but so with that being said, like that's how he's labeled, and he goes to school, and when people ask what's his quirk, he says like instead of calling it what it is, he names it himself in that moment, and then it's sent out to, be labeled. He labels himself pilot of Titans, and everyone's like, "Ooh, what does that mean?" And basically, he just explains it. So after the explanation, Bakugo, being Bakugo, be like, "That sounds cool and all, but where's your Titan?" And he's like, "I have to make it." Like make it. It's like, yeah, I can't just uh, do you can't, how do things. You can't just be a part of Titan. Bakugo's like, and then time goes on, Bakugo unlock his quirk and think he's better than Deku. Now Deku at this age is pretty fucking strong, considering that he works out, but he works out just so it wouldn't he works out enough to where it's good for it, perfect for his body, instead of just working out to where it's bad and will stunt your growth. Because yeah, that is true. You work out too much and do some certain things, and it just fucks up your growth. So he's doing it enough to where it makes sense and it doesn't fuck up your growth. So after doing that for a while, Bakugo would, being Bakugo, would start trying to pick on Deku, and Deku would let it slide because he doesn't really care. But whenever everything happens, is Deku has always been known to be the first one out the door, first in everything, first in test. Smartest kid in class, first in athletic shit. Basically, wants to be first in everything, because he has a fighter pilot mentality that legit doesn't take second place at all. He hates second place in everything, unless it makes sense why he lost. Let me give an example. Say if he was running against someone who had a speed quirk and he went in second against them. He wouldn't consider it a loss. He considers himself hit first in being what he has for being normal. Having a speed quirk gives you advantage in a way, so he knew he couldn't beat it, so he aimed for second, so he feels like he's first in a way. Basically, it's basically knowing you couldn't win against that, but to do that good, it's actually pretty fucking good. Is basically how he's seeing it. So, throughout middle school, Bakugo try to fucking pick on him, and it just he just blow it off and just walk away and do all that until one day Bakugo legit tries to incite a fight with him, and again Deku will try to shove it off until Bakugo tries to pick on someone a girl that was basically helping him through high school, and basically tell him oh, that's something, and basically helping him. I said high school, helping him through middle school. And no, it's not a ship. Don't worry. Don't even try it. But he will try to pick on him, and Deku is just faster than normal because yeah. As soon as Bakugo goes to explode her notebook, Deku grabs his hand and is yeah, no, you can try to pick on me, but at least lower it down so you don't pick on girls. That's kind of low. And Bakugo will be like, what? And swing his right arm and try to hit Deku with a hook. Now Deku would catch this and basically judo flip him onto a desk and then put him in an armbar. Force and the teachers will come in and separate them, and they go to the office. Now, the teacher, I said the teacher, the principal was ready to suspend both of them, but then he realized that Deku was actually defending someone due to testimonies of many students, and the teacher who came in and heard the testimony of the students. So Deku got off with a light warning. Bakugo obviously getting suspended for multiple. He's done multiple things, so he gets suspended. And I'd say as time passes, the end of the year goes, and when it's time to pick out the schools and shit, the teacher's like, "Well, two, you're going to, like, here's your career forms, but you don't need those. We know you're all gonna be heroes," and throws out the papers. Same shit as canon. And I'm actually enjoying this a little bit more. And when he says two students are going to like UA, I don't Kasaki, I don't know, Bakugo and Izuku Midoriya, and Bakugo's like, "What? That nerd's going into the hero course?" And Deku says, "I'm Midoriya." Yeah, basically, yeah. Deku basically says like, "Correction, I'm going into the hero and what's the name? Engineering classes at UA." And Bakugo's like, "Huh? Like, can you do both?" He's like, "I actually talked to the principal already, and he says like he'll give me a pass on it because like after explaining and looking through my records." And it's like, yeah. And Bakugo getting mad at this would actually like incite a fight with Deku and says, "Meet me after school." And because it's the last day, they can't really like get mad at them. And so, I mean, they can, but it's like, it's the last day of school, and they've been doing Bakugo all these years, so it's like, fuck it. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna just let this be. And because they feel like someone will stop it. And when Deku came out, it was Bakugo and two goons. Mind you, the two goons are just random, so, don't matter. So, Deku was like, "Oh." I'm like, "Oh, so this is how it's gonna be." Well, I'm used to these situations anyway. Bakugo's like, "Huh?" And Deku's just like, stretching his shoulders and stretching his legs. He's like, "All right, let's do this. Like, I'm trying to be home within an hour." So the first goon would come at him, and Deku would basically Batman him. You know how Batman just ends a fight within like a few seconds. He basically just does that. I'm not even gonna like try and make it seem like he gave up. Like he hit him. He didn't. Like he just whiffed and just got basically just Batmaned. That's the only thing I can say. And the second guy got the same treatment. Now Bakugo, this is like a little bit longer considering because Bakugo like has some fighting experience. Both of them do, but Deku's is so much more and it's evident. So these two would begin to it's not even a fight, it's a bit of a tussle because Bakugo will go to grapple Deku, and Deku would break out of it easily and basically just like go under him. Or not go under him, go to the side of him and like slam him and then put him in a triangle sleeper hold. Basically rendering Bakugo ineffective because he tried to, reach his hands up and use his explosions on Deku to stun him at least. But Deku will move his head out the way of the explosions, and after a while, Bakugo will be put to sleep, ending the fight, and all three of them, except for two of them are hurt. Bakugo legit just got knocked out. Like, Bakugo couldn't do anything. Actually, no, Bakugo was hurt, but it's more like on his back and then his neck. Because, yeah, you got put in a very effective sleeper hold. That, I'm not playing. Them triangle sleeper holds are just disgustingly effective. If you don't know a triangle sleeper hold, basically, imagine someone is on your back, right? Legs wrapped around your, like, ribs or stomach and squeezing there. And then you have someone, like, get you in a sleeper hold, and squeezing up there, basically eliminating any breath of air you could have possibly taken, and tiring you out at the same time. So yeah, he just went out. It's just over. Like there's a done deal. After that, he get his stuff, walk home, and after a while, Bakugo and them would separate, go their own ways, and you know, Deku not being stupid, because I mean, he's not stupid. He knows the dangers of like taking a shortcut, so he's like, yeah, I'd rather just walk in public because no, like he sees it as like it's more dangerous to walk into some like below a bridge because anything could happen. Because you think about it, walking in a tunnel that's like isn't really populated to get home faster is kind of it seems like a good idea, but it's like so fucking bad considering there's so many villains around, even with All Might. So he wouldn't do that. Therefore, avoiding the sludge villain, and the sludge villain obviously gets like what's due to him, and he gets home. Now, when he gets home, the 10 months of prepping would go. He wouldn't be training with All Might because and he's training by himself. He has a gym membership, but he was also working with the electronics and shit. And on his phone, he created a system, well, not a system, an algorithm which turned into a robot and yada yada. Basically, making someone like BT from Titanfall 2. Not BT like in this, like in 12 server, not like the BT like in 12 server. No, I'm not allowing him in this because that's kind of stupid. But BT. So after making BT, basically, uh, how do I say this? Basically, goes to meet each other. Deku explains everything. He's like copy, and like a usual fucking like one of them algorithms would do. And that being said, 10 months would pass. Now, mind you, Deku doesn't have a like the fucking Titanfall shit because he doesn't have the technology for it. But he does, however, have the fucking what's the name? He does have the helmet though, so he lists that as one of the things he could bring into the test and goes into the test with it. But he doesn't wear it during like the written test because that's kind of yeah. All right, so on the way to the test, he'd see Bakugo, and Bakugo wouldn't even try him. Honestly, let's be honest. Bakugo would learn his lesson and not try Deku, and because he doesn't want to get demolished on the day before the fucking. I mean, not the day, an hour before the testing and shit. So, actually, what's funny? Deku doesn't even have to take. He doesn't take the test. Never mind. He gets in on not recommendation, scholarship. Like what I'm trying to say. He's, if anything, he goes into the test with Mina, Todoroki, and that one Wind guy. But y'all know the story. He would pass it, and he look at basically he would pass it, and and another time skip, and now we're to canon. Now in canon, he like actually his homeroom wouldn't be in 1A. He'd be more in the engineering class, but he'd take the classes of 1A. Like he'd get the classwork and shit from 1A. So he can spend like all the time in the engineering classes because that's what he's a lot like. Basically, yeah, that's basically how it is. So he made May, and because the class, like I'm gonna say this year is different, is they want partnerships in the engineering classes. So Deku and May would be like partners, so they get to work. But Deku would still take the hero like course, even though he's an engineer. So he wouldn't meet anyone in canon like Mina and them. Well, I mean he would, but not now. So he gets his engineering classes. In the engineering classes, I'd say, how do I say this? In the engineering classes, he'd like start building. He wouldn't build the Titan yet because that's kind of very expensive. He needs to prove that he can make that first. So the first thing he makes is the armor of Valkyrie, like the new Titanfall character, something like that. And May will be like, okay, so you got the jetpack and things ready. And he's like, yep. All right, so you got that, and they basically just checking off the whole checklist. And they're like, okay, so you want to add rockets? He's like, no, not right now. That's kind of dead. That's something that shouldn't be added right now, because he has to get used to flying around first, and then add that in later. And Maya's like, okay, so he wouldn't take like this shit like Aizawa would be like. The first day is kind of testing, and even though he has muscle memory and shit, he does crash and burn on the first go around. So when he goes and flies, boom, hits the ground, and his shit is destroyed. And May is like, huh, well, we shouldn't have tried, like, the big things first. Let's start with the small things. He's like, now Deku on the ground hurt is like, but still alive. He was like, yeah, like, that wasn't a good idea, but at least, like, we know, like, how to make it. It's just we need to figure out how to, like, get the body the right way to fly it. And then Deku's like, I have an idea. And basically makes the pilot suit, where it's like a little propulsion thing, so he could get used to it at first. Now with the propulsion, like with the propulsion, it's not much. It's just like a little second jump thing, but it helps a lot because if you modify it the right way, you can hover, you can hang on walls more. Basically, do a whole bunch of things that's abnormal. But first, they're making that, and I'm gonna say it takes them about like a couple of days, cause yeah, enough to where it's like the USJ. All right, one sec. He it will take him about a day to get used to it. But besides that, yeah, he's getting used to like the suit, the helmet, everything. And huh, I'd say it takes him a little while to get used to the weight, then everything. So yeah, now I'm skipping to the USJ. Now in the USJ, I mean, how he gets to the USJ is basically like he's taking on the same uh what's it called? The same bus as the other students. Now on that bus, he would have on his like his helmet and shit, and people would be like confused to why the hell he has the helmet on, and why does he have like the apex predator like what's his name? Not insignia, like spray painted. I mean, not spray painted, painted on, and it's a apex predators, and basically like he's in the back, like pretty much by himself because I don't know anyone on the bus until someone speaks up and they're like, okay, so what's your name, yada yada, and why do you have the thing on your helmet labeled Apex Predator? And he would he would introduce himself as Izuku Midoriya. I mean, Izuku, like Apex Predator Midoriya, and that's when everyone's still like asking like, shouldn't that hero name be illegal technically? And then he explained what an apex predator was. He said no, that what he meant by apex predator is the person who's at the top, the very top, and is the strongest. Like people like All Might, Endeavor, basically every top 10 hero is basically an apex predator. I mean, would be an apex predator. And they're like, okay, so where are you from to where there's like apex predators like this? He says, like not really a long story, but he says, like, like it's from a game because technically Titanfall is a game there. I'm gonna say that. So basically, they believe like someone says, oh, from the game Titanfall. He's like something like that. So after a while, they get there, and I say he'd like the hero. 13. Actually, no, never mind. I'm gonna scratch that. They get there, and Deku's walking in, and he gets like a strange feeling, like something ain't right here. So instead of like not speaking up on it, he legit tells like Aizawa and 13 like, "Hey, I don't have a good feeling here. It feels like something is gonna happen." And Aizawa's like, don't worry, I'm." 13 be like, "No, it should be fine. No one knows where this place is. There's no way people would do this." And Aizawa's like, "Actually, I'm gonna go with the kid on this one." And 13 is like, "Okay, if you say so." Instead of teaching, they ready for it, and yeah, when the attack on the USJ happens, 13 is actually not put out of commission. So instead of it being like Aizawa and fucking like 13, instead of being like Aizawa versus hundreds, there's like Aizawa and 13 plus Deku pretty much already called in help as soon as like they said all right, just to make sure everything was all right. All Might actually is getting there faster because they're calling for help. So instead of being like haha and like doing all that and ruining his time, he's actually hitting there immediately. So while that's happening, the class is escorted. Is they're still locked in there, but instead of being like useless, they're actually helping Aizawa and 13 a bit, even though like they kind of do and don't need help in a way. Like Momo's firing cannons. Deku's pointing out Deku's pointing out people and actually getting like stopping people from getting closer to them. So is Bakugo and Todoroki. Basically, everyone who's actually pretty good in this fighting situation. Mineta is actually helping a little bit with like when something dumb happens, he just throws like a little fucking grape and just sticks them to the ground. Momo blasts them with the cannon, not killing them, but you know what I'm trying to say. Basically, everyone's doing their part in helping. Till fucking what's the name comes out with the Nomu. Oof, that's a tough one. The same shit still happens again. The Nomu still like walks Aizawa, and same bullshit still happening in canon. But I'm gonna change it up a little bit though, because I feel like it should be. When the Nomu does that to Aizawa, Deku sees it as a prime opportunity, and because he kind of has a gun. I forgot to mention this, but yeah, he has a legit. He can legit. Took a license and everything. He's packing heat, so he realizes that this hand fucker is actually like ordering it to do. So he looks, aims the gun at fucking hands guy, and almost ends the entire fucking series. And like and basically like does what's the name sharpshooter did, like one in a leg, one in his thigh, one in his shoulder, roll and having him roll out the way, and they retreat early. All Might pulls up and they're like, "I am here," and starts throwing the ones with the Nomu. Well, throwing the ones with the Nomu, basically like Deku would be no help. Like I'm not bullshitting you. I as much as I would like to for him to help, there's nothing he could possibly do to stop the Nomu. Like trust me, shoots the Nomu, shock absorption, regeneration, like this, that, and the third. So he's pretty much just watching All Might just work the Nomu after a while. Uh, fucking. That's pretty much that actually. Like everything goes as in canon. Besides, like All Might wouldn't reach it. With stuff like I say like 30 seconds, so he do the whole thing, yada yada, smash out the fucking window. He's like, and then he's like, "I have to go, kids." And then they're like, "Oh, he's so cool." Even Deku still doesn't know, so trust me, he like legit doesn't know. So, like, All Might leaves, yada yada bullshit happens, and now we're like still at the USJ basically. So in the USJ, like Deku goes and picks up Aizawa and is helping him moving. help moving him. The rest of the pro heroes show. I mean, pro heroes show up. I said erase. Erase. I said erase. Really? Dang, that's violent. Arrest. Sheesh. I can. My English is getting worse. Arrest the fucking the I said heroes villains that are still there because yeah, there's still quite the few. And um, like yeah, 13 basically gives props to Deku for basically saying like, yeah, I don't like his sixth sense actually helped them to through all the trouble, and they thank the class for helping out a lot more. Cause yeah, I'm gonna say there's cameras in the USJ, so it's obvious to tell who was doing a lot, and they can tell like Deku was coordinating a lot of their attacks and defenses, so it made sense. And basically they basically say like, "Yep, he's the hero slash engineer Apex," and they're like, and Deku's like, "Add Predator in there." He's like, "No, you need to earn like as you said, Predators are the top, so you're Apex." And he was like, "Okay," and I mean not pro hero, but you know, basically like basically saying it was Izuku Midoriya, yada yada. Then like you know, in the base they'd be like, "Damn, Izuku Midoriya, get him next time," yada yada. Basically, shit like that. And I'm gonna stop it here because this recording lasted me a whole day. This shit was supposed to be out yesterday, and then I have to worry about like editing something, like because I have to figure out how to do this. So yeah, I'm gonna stop this here so I have more time to be lazy a bit, then do the editing. And yeah, I'm gonna peace out and see you guys in the next one, which will probably be soon.